got an interesting one here. Crisis. New York City needs 500K more apartments. So we already know about inflation. We know about cost of living, a silent housing crisis that we're in. It's absolutely wild. You can't afford almost anything today. Our purchasing power is being destroyed. And, officials don't want to do anything about it. So the American dream is evaporated and people have had to redefine what that means. But let's see what's going on in NYC. So this is from Cash Jordan. Oh.
New York City.
By the way, I have to tell you guys, the reason you can't show homeless people, YouTube demonetizes the video, which, perfect segue. Thank you so much for everybody that buys a shirt. It helps tremendously. Shout outs to everybody that's gotten a bug shirt and Passport Bro shirt and whatever else from the store. You guys are MVPs and greatly appreciated. But back to what I was saying, you have to blur this out because YouTube demonetizes the video automatically. You can't even show the streets of a city if there's homeless people. It's not, quote, safe for advertisers. But you could have a music video where somebody is shaking their ass, basically naked, highly sexualized content. That's okay. We're going to make a ton of money off that. Makes perfect sense to absolutely nobody with half a brain. But okay, let's continue.
New York City needs...
Oh, and I forgot to mention, my video I did on like San Francisco, the streets of San Francisco, the drug problem and homelessness, got demonetized and age restricted and had the channel punished simply for showing what it looks like to walk down the streets of San Francisco. Crazy.
500,000 more homes or else.
The average monthly rent has jumped to a record high of nearly $5,600.
The rent here is absolutely crazy. I mean, it's absolutely insane.
Not sustainable for the city.
What?
Half of all city households cannot afford the cost of living.
Everyone who comes here will get a cot, a lockbox to hold their things, and a QR code to scan in and out of the dorm.
If we do not deal with this housing crisis, New York will no longer be a city for working people. We cannot let this happen. This is our mission, our moonshot.
But will it work? Over the last year, the need for affordable housing here in New York City has exploded. And according to the mayor, our city declared a housing emergency 5 decades ago. And 5 decades later, the problem is worse than ever. And lately, things have gotten really bad.
Yeah, the rent here is absolutely crazy. I mean, it's absolutely insane.
And look, it's only getting higher. In fact, a new report by Douglas Elliman and Miller Samuel found that rents in Manhattan continued to skyrocket, with July seeing an average rental rate of nearly $5,600.
Now, the mayor's plan is to commit $24 billion.
Bro, 5,600 average a month. And you see why I keep pushing for you guys, get out of the big city. It is a trap. Even with your high paying job, you're still a wage cuck slave. 5,600. What? How is this sustainable? It's shocking when you hear these kinds of numbers. Like, we're already pushing on the median rate was 2,000 in the United States, but there are some places like this with hyper prices at 5,600 average, man. And you're making 100K a year and you're still barely getting by. You're doing worse than the guy living in the boonies making 40K a year. You call that living? To be surrounded by giant New York rats and cockroaches that are unkillable? Great, man. Yes, cockroaches dancing on your sink while you brush your teeth, getting tucked in by those giant rats in New York. That's awesome, dude. You are living a first world lifestyle. Wow, I'm in the Big Apple. What a cuck.
To fixing this, that's the most in New York City's history. And the goal is to create 500,000 new homes over the next decade. The affordable kind, not the unaffordable kind we're surrounded with. But critics are saying the mayor's plans are doomed to fail.
I used to live in 49th Street, literally right here, and I had to move out because they raised my rent like $700. Yeah.
$700.
Yeah.
Okay, Hell's Kitchen, that's the neighborhood we're in right now, and that guy was probably living in an affordable looking place like this one. But don't be deceived, even apartments in buildings like this go for thousands of dollars a month. And even though he might not be homeless now and probably found somewhere else to live, things are so expensive, the New York shelter population exceeds 100,000. Now, yeah.
And that's funny, dude. On my second channel, where I'm starting to show my day-to-day life walking around Romania, just going on trips and stuff, I've read a few comments like, that's a third world country. Or why would you move to Romania? Or some crazy shit like that. Or I see it on other people's videos that are covering some countries in Eastern Europe. And I'm like, what looks like a third world hellhole? Homelessness, drug abuse, and crime waves all over the streets of a place you're paying $5,600 a month to live in? 100 100,000 homeless people, migrants, people that need shelters provided for them, absolutely hotels filled to the brim with these people. That is your first world living. That's what you're happy to be a part of. Blows my mind, dude. The concept between like first world and third world country is so flipped on its head. Americans have no idea. I rarely see homeless people. I rarely hear about violence. Women are walking around in the middle of the night by themselves, not a worry in sight, not weird fights breaking out, crazy shootings, stabbings, none of that. It's peaceful.
Yes, asylum seekers make up some of the total, about half. The New York City shelter system is 166 places. You've got hotels like the Roosevelt, which is also the Asylum Processing Center, and mega sites like Randall's Island, which are supposed to be temporary and are able to house thousands of people. Also, an estimated 3,000 New Yorkers permanently live on the streets. But even New Yorkers who don't live on the streets are suffering. Inflation has destroyed people's savings and has eaten into their disposable income. Even at 7-Eleven, look at these prices. $4.79 for that tiny little bottle of 1% milk, $3.50 for the no-name water, and look at the Ben & Jerry's, that's insane, $10. And dollar pizza, it's now $1.50. And let's say you want to travel, well, the subway fares have gone up to $2.90 for a single ride, $34 for a week-long pass, and $132 for the monthly unlimited. And since mortgage rates are really high, people are kind of stuck renting.
I cannot afford to buy. I've been looking a little bit. So expensive.
The average long-term U.S. mortgage rate jumped more than 7%.
It's more than double of what you would have paid 2 years ago.
Buying's next to impossible. And in New York, the taxes and maintenance fees associated with owning your own apartment, sometimes those can be even higher than the rent you'd pay for the same size place. And you've got mortgage interest, maintenance, insurance, common charges.
Would-be buyers are having to stay in the rental market longer, which is squeezing inventory and pushing up prices.
I'm just curious. The government reports that we only have like 13% increase, 7% increase, 6%, 3% inflation increase year over year, month over month, all this bullshit, right? Rent doubled, 100% increase. Groceries, how many times over what shit used to cost has it gone up? Gas prices. If you were to calculate, everybody in the comment section, what you're paying month over month for bare amenities versus 3 years ago, pre-pandemic, do you think that 6%, 7%, 8% inflation, all those numbers we were getting are real? I think it's bullshit, personally. What the fuck are they calculating? When rent doubles, when cars, brand new cars, have shot up dramatically and they're putting market adjustment prices of like $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on top of some fucking vehicles. You're telling me that inflation has only gone up 7%. We're going to pat ourselves on the back. We've done a good job. We raised interest rates, which made housing even more unaffordable. And inflation is only up 6% this month compared to last year. Ha! We're doing so good. It's gone down 0.3%. Who's buying this horseshit? Look at this, bro. Yeah, pay your average $5,600 a month in your first world nation to live in this shit box. Wow! How do you not want to hit end game on your life?
We are in a bad state of affairs, and we recently released a building which had 135 units in it for low-income housing, and we had 43,000 applications.
Fucking shithole.
135 units, 43,000 applications. Everyone who applied had a 99% chance of getting nothing, and a 0.31% chance of getting a place. There's no way this is sustainable.
Fucking shithole.
This is going to be a massive building. And the plan to build 500,000 affordable units, that's a great plan, but is it really achievable? Over the last 10 years, the city of New York was only able to create 200,000 new homes. So this is more than double the previous record. But the problem is New York's population increased by 800,000 people. And since something like this hasn't been done before, some people are saying it can't be done now. And right now, 8.5 million people live in New York City, and homes here are some of the most expensive in the world. And since rents just keep going up and up and up and up and up, even if you can afford the rent this year, there's no guarantee you'll be able to afford it next year.
When Weinberger received a rent increase notice from $1,833 to $2,500, she tried to negotiate, but her landlord refused.
And that story's all too common. You have to move out because the landlord has somebody else who wants to move in at a higher price. And rents have gone up since then. Even if she got this place for $21, the same thing would have just happened a year later. It would have gone up again, and she may have had to move out a year after. after. And that means that anybody who's not in a rent-stabilized apartment is imminently in danger of being priced out of New York City completely, unless something gets done. Also, housing pricing problems are exacerbated because in 2020, things went down. You had people leaving New York, rents were tanking, landlords were giving away free rent, and things were at a 10-year low. People thought they had found their dream apartments, and now those are the same people that can't live in them anymore because those were all market rate. And the problem is once you get priced out of one building, you're generally priced out of everything that surrounds it. If this building is too expensive, this one probably is too.
I live right there, actually.
Do you think it's affordable living around here?
For me, I can make do. I have rent control right now. I mean, I started at $2,200 a month 13 years ago. I'm only at about $3,000 right now. So
okay. If you didn't have a rent control apartment, do you think that you could make it? Do you have friends who had to leave the city because they, yeah? Wow, that's sad. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm leaving New York partially because it's so expensive here.
And the only way to fix this is to build more apartment buildings. But building apartments in New York City is not easy. In fact, it's one of the hardest places to build anything.
You know, this stack of papers, this is what it takes to get it done. People are reading through 50,000 pieces of paper to actually get housing built.
50,000 pages. And that's the reason New York City housing construction isn't keeping pace with New York City population growth. There's just too much in the way. And a great example of this is a building in Greenpoint, Brooklyn that I recently visited. Because of all the rules in New York City, only a specific type of structure could be built on the property. The building exterior, the windows, the shape and size of everything all had to be signed off on. And that's because the building that was on the property before happened to be landmarked, so the new building also had to meet certain requirements that don't even apply to other buildings, and it was completely unlivable. It was doing nothing. It was just sitting there. No one could live there. It was unaffordable to fix up, but it was still costly to come in and just replace with a new structure.
Which is why the mayor's new Get Stuff Built housing plan focuses on cutting red tape, 111 new ways to cut bureaucracy and make it easier to build new homes.
What's interesting is the first regulation they mentioned working on is environmental, but everything here is concrete. There's not much environment left.
If we enact all of 111 reforms, we cut the time in half for a project to get from environmental review to actually permitted with people in them, and we're saving about $2 billion.
Also, New York has a lot of weird rules.
Saving $2 billion. Let me translate. Grifting $2 billion will disappear. All the greased hands no longer are getting greased. This problem's gotten so big that if we don't fix it, we lose all the grift. We lose all the corrupt money. So we're just gonna, for you plebs, we'll shave off a cool $2 billion because we've been making a killing on your poor asses.
Rules about what you can build and how high it can be. Certain rules also give special permission for buildings that may house seniors. Those can actually be taller than what a market rate building might be in the exact same part of town.
Makes
so it really
perfect
doesn't
sense.
have anything to do with the building's height, and they're talking about extending that permission to all buildings. Now, over the last year, the city has produced about 26,000 new affordable homes. That's 22% more than the year before. And changes are being made to how the city helps needy New Yorkers find a home. Remember how the shelter population is exploding? Well, that's partly because you have to wait 90 days in the shelter system before you can apply for a housing voucher to get out of the shelter system. And that 30-day length of stay requirement is being eliminated. People can apply for housing much sooner. In fact, they're now eligible immediately. And since so many asylum seekers are on their way to New York City, the mayor's main goal right now is just to keep up with the temporary housing needs of the city itself. The mayor's plans also aim to help NYCHA, the New York City Housing Authority, the city's largest landlord.
It's funny because this is the same mayor that said, we're a sanctuary city, we accept everybody. And I think Texas just started busing illegal migrants over there. And now he's having a full-blown meltdown saying like, if we don't fix the migrant crisis and secure the border, we're going to lose New York City. Okay, dude. All right.
or get back on track with renovating apartments and bringing them to a place where a family who needs one can move in. NYC's got 360 tenants in 170,000 properties. And recently it's been reported that renovating those properties can take up to 260 days. That's completely unacceptable. Another thing that the city's doing is they're rebuilding current housing developments to make them taller so that they can house more residents. And this will also fix a lot of the maintenance problems that have made NYC a landlord with a reputation that's not really that great. Also, the mayor has plans to help fund more construction of buildings like this with the help of private companies. This is 311 11th Avenue. It is a massive building. There's almost 1,000 units, but 235 of them are affordable housing units. If you're curious what the unaffordable ones rent for, I think we can all agree that that's not really affordable. This is the largest multifamily development in Manhattan, and you can qualify as a family of two on an annual income of $26,000 a year. Plus, as part of the development deal, the company who made this built...
Are you shitting me? That rent he just showed us was $9,100 something bucks. Apparently you can qualify for this high rise making $26,000 a year. What kind of shit is that? What? Oh my God, the amount of waste here. Wow.
A new fire station and a new EMS facility. And this type of property arrangement is probably how New York City is going to hit this goal of 500,000 homes. These private developers do a better job managing their properties than the city because you've got market rate tenants along with the affordable tenants, and they can't just let the whole thing fall apart or the people paying 10 grand a month are gonna move out. But the city is gonna need a lot more of these, and they're gonna need them fast. And if some of the figures for affordable housing victories include placing people with vouchers, that's not necessarily sustainable because programs like that only work based on the existing supply of apartments, not the future needed supply that doesn't exist yet, which makes it seem like the only practical solution is just to build more buildings, as many as you possibly can, but that might not even be possible. Because even though you can build a new building, the sewer system underneath the building is not new. In fact, it's really, really, really old. And it was designed for a New York City that had less people and no flushable wipes that clog those things up. And anytime a massive new tower gets built, it has to be done so in a way that works with the city, or we'll all be living in a giant dump. But some people would say we already do. How about you? Did I miss anything? Leave a comment. Thanks for watching. I will see you.
It was a well done episode, man. This channel is Cash Jordan. Let's see what this lady says. I just got approved for a $420,000 mortgage that would put me at about $3,300 a month on an 80 grand salary. And what's crazier is he said I could be approved for up to $500,000. Like, dude, that's over 3/4 of my take-home pay. We are going into a gigantic bubble where people cannot continue to afford their monthly payments. Sad state of affair, boys. It's only getting worse. You should be planning your escape if you haven't already. See you on the next one.